Hey, Scorn here. Get ready, we're going deep into creepy Reddit stories. She screamed all day, but nobody called until night. What we found inside was worse than hell itself. A monster was hiding behind the friendliest smile I've ever seen. Throwaway account, TW. I used to be in the police, and this story is burned into my head for life. We got a call to a caravan park. A woman had been heard screaming in one caravan all day, but we only got the call that night. I turned up with my partner. A huge friendly man opened the door, towering over me, blocking the view inside. I told him we had complaints of screaming. He said he and his wife had argued about something stolen outside. He was nice, polite, friendly, too friendly. I wasn't leaving without checking. He finally moved, and I saw her on the bed, covered head to toe in clothes and huge sunglasses at night. Odd. Drugs, maybe, but I doubted it. I asked if she was okay. She nodded, refused to remove her glasses. I gave them a warning to keep it down. I was still uneasy. I asked the neighbors. They told me she was covered in bruises and begged me to get her to safety. They agreed to witness and make statements. With that, I had the evidence I needed for an arrest. I went back, arrested the man, and put him in my car. When I turned to the woman, she collapsed. We lifted her back on the bed. She removed her clothes and glasses. Her body was covered in bruises, her face swollen, eyes black. Fresh blowtorch burns on her legs and stomach, holes from a screwdriver, infected wounds. I had never seen anything like it. She had been tied up in that little caravan for weeks, tortured every moment she was awake. The worst part, how nice that monster seemed. You never know anyone until it's too late. We put him away for life without bail. We got her help, a recovery house, a new start. But the saddest part, she's still in love with him, brainwashed. A new neighbor moved in, and my life turned into a real-life horror movie. He watched me, stalked me, and finally tried to kill me. The scariest part, he's already free. Hope you all are ready for my real-life Lifetime movie. This was over the course of maybe 6 months. The scariest part is at the end. I grew up in a really close-knit neighborhood. We would watch each other's houses and feed each other's animals whenever someone went on vacation. Fast forward to adulthood, a new neighbor moved in behind me by my horse area. I introduced myself to the lady. She said her grandson would be moving in with their horses soon. Being nice, I gave her my number and told her to call if she needed anything. Her grandson moves in. This guy is strange to say the least. First, he jumped my fence and tried to ride my horse. Then he set up a chair and started watching me whenever I went to work or feed my horse. One evening, he texted me 50 times while I was asleep after night shift. I woke up to him saying my fence was 3 feet over his land and ranting nonsense. I looked out my window and saw him pacing, waiting for me. I called my brother-in-law. He came so I wasn't alone. The guy threatened to burn us alive. We called the cops, but they did nothing. That same night at work, I got terrifying texts from him saying I fucked up. I came home to find my fence cut in 3 spots and his section marked off with caution tape. Cops came again but couldn't help. Every time I called, he hid, so nothing could be done. I got a restraining order, but it barely helped. Now he targeted my next-door neighbors too, only harassing women and elders. He claimed he owned the easement between our houses, which wasn't true. One day his grandma's car blocked them in. Police came and had it towed. That night, I returned home after dark. My private road has only one way in, out, no street parking. I saw taillights near my driveway. It was him, waiting in his car. A horrible feeling hit me. I tried to turn around, but he floored it and T-boned my car with his truck. He didn't stop, he pushed my car with his truck before driving off. In shock, I called 911 and texted my sister and Bill. Dispatch told me to leave, but I couldn't. My family rushed over. Police took 45 minutes. While we waited, he came down on foot. He told me he wanted to feel his knife popping through my skin and my blood on his hands. Then he rushed me, grabbed my shoulders, lifted me, and slammed my head into my car repeatedly until I blacked out. My Bill drew his gun. The neighbor dropped me and ran. Police finally arrested him. The scariest thought, if he was thinking straight, he would have waited by my horse, where I'd be alone. If not for my family, he would have killed me. Worst of all, he's already out. Charges drops, served a year, now just probation. You won't believe what happened to my brother. His life became a living nightmare. This is a real story that will shock you to the core. Here's the start of the horror story that was my brother's life. Obvious throwaway account because I don't need this getting around to my real face. When I was young, probably 6 or so, one of my earliest memories was of this thing that the kids of the neighborhood called the gross game, where you did things with them until it was gross and then you stopped. Apparently this wasn't enough for the bullies and they started hurting kids my age. For reference, I think they were like 15 or 16. Cut to a few weeks or months later, time is weird at that age and 4 of these kids jump into my backyard with my brother and he was 2 years older than me, and proceed to beat me severely and grab my brother. They demanded that he do what they wanted or they would hurt me further, and he refused, so they decided to go further. They grabbed a large garbage can and stuffed him inside with a water hose. They had the largest one sit on top, while the others held me down and kept hitting me if I yelled or tried to resist. From there, they filled up the garbage can, leaving him to decide either to survive or do what they demanded. I tried to fight them, but I was powerless. Eventually, he started struggling and finally gave in. I honestly don't remember what happened after that. I might have run inside. I might have been forced to watch. All I remember is being terrified, and my memories only resumed later that night when my brother went to my parents to tell them what had happened to him. My dad immediately accused him of lying and took him out to the garage for hours of abuse, alternating between physical punishment and strangling. All the while, my dad demanded that my brother admit he was lying about the entire thing. My brother later told me that I apparently said I didn't remember what happened, but over time my memories returned. Eventually, my brother broke under the abuse and admitted he was lying, which led to even more hours of punishment. I just remember it stopped when he went silent and my mom started crying and screaming that he was being harmed. This was just the beginning of my brother's life being a living hell. Daily beatings from my father, emotional and mental abuse went on constantly. He was forced to move out at 16 when my dad threatened him for breaking a coffee mug that my dad had thrown. Eventually, his wife lied to the police and DCF, taking his children away. This became the final reason he took his own life. To make it worse, when he called DCF as a teenager, they came, took one look at him and said, "You're a big kid. You can handle yourself," and left so my dad could punish him even more. I'm sure that added to the feeling of losing everything he loved. He tried to end his life several times before finally succeeding. I only learned this while clearing his house for the landlord. That's my real horror story. You won't believe what the old Texas ranch hides. People have heard stories that will make your blood run cold. This is a true story with real events. My family is from a rural Texas town, and I've heard some creepy stories there from neighbors and people who have stayed at the old ranch house. My mom told me a story she heard about someone who went hunting one morning. They left their house early when it was still dark out to walk to the deer blind. On the way, they walked up on some wild hogs and got trampled and gored to death. Hogs can get up to 400 pounds and have tusks as big as your hand. They don't usually attack people, but they're still very dangerous, so it's good to carry a pistol with you when you're out there. I heard another story about a tornado that came through the area a long time ago. It was approaching a house, so the family decided to run and try to escape. The mother took her infant in her arms and ran. But the wind was so strong it sucked the baby out of her arms and into the tornado. The ranch house is about 120 years old, been in the family for generations. It used to be a working ranch before my great-grandpa died. Family has been born in the house and died there, but it's mostly vacant now except when we go visit and go hunting. My uncle would stay out there alone and hunt in the morning. He said one night he went to bed and heard a door slam. So he got up to check it out, but the house was empty, doors all locked. He went back to bed and it happened again. So he yelled at the house that he was part of the family and to stop slamming the doors. Then it was quiet the rest of the night. He's had other experiences there too. I was there just 2 weeks ago, picking and playing fetch with my dog while it was getting dark. He has a squeaky ball that he loves, so I threw it around until the food was ready. After dinner, it was fully dark and I went out to get the ball and play fetch with him a little more. As soon as I went outside, I hear the ball squeaking from in the brush away from the house. I stood there and listened. My dog was listening too, so I grabbed a flashlight and walked over towards the trees. It's still squeaking, but when I shine the light into the bushes, it stops. My dog stayed next to me the whole time like he was scared, and we didn't find the ball the next day either.